Hey guys, Micah from Black Bear Custom Kydex. I've got a video for you today on these 4 separate projects, all of which are going to a gentleman named Sheaths. Sheaths asked me originally if I could build him a couple of sidecar holsters for 2 different Kahr arms pistols. This one is the PM9, and over here we have the CW9. Both of them are single stack 9mm pistols. Looking at what it means to get a sidecar holster, the definition is a holster for the firearm with a magazine pouch attached to it. A lot of the times you see these done as a single piece over the front and then a back piece. So they're 2-piece holsters, but it's all constructed out of one piece that's molded for both the firearm and the magazine. I don't personally like those because I feel like it limits a little bit the structure of the belt curvature to your body. Whereas if you have 2 separate pieces on some kind of a flexible hinge, it's going to be kind of more one size fits all. In my experience, this is a very comfortable holster to wear. This style holster, I should say. So what we're looking at for a carry setup, this is supposed to be worn AIWB, which is appendix inside the waistband. So essentially you'd have, looking down at this, you'd have the firearm slightly off to the right, the magazine slightly off to the left, and your belt buckle would be right around here in the center. The belt clips are called grip hooks. These are kind of low profile options. I like these a lot. They're pretty rugged for being plastic, and they're very lightweight and slim. You have a Dominate conceal claw on here. Now these are milled out of airplane grade aluminum. They are relatively inexpensive and they are very light and super sturdy. What I love about these is they give you both a wide profile for the clip itself, for the belt wing, and what that really means is that it's going to put the section that actually causes your holster to conceal better. It puts that really far down, so even if you have a full-size pistol, you're probably going to have this somewhere in the ballpark of the bottom of your handle, which means that it should, as long as you can see it's clearly a higher profile than the gun handle itself, which means that it should be concealing this pretty well against your body. The other thing I love about these is that they didn't skimp on the height of this. So like I was just saying, the profile is quite a bit higher than the firearm itself. Of course, that'll depend somewhat on where you install it and how you install it. But in this case, I believe this will be a very effective concealment solution. So I'm really pleased with this product, the Dominate Conceal Claws. As you guys probably know, if you followed me for a while, I started out using plastic concealment claws, which are the kind of industry standard. And I found that they ended up starting to flex under pressure, which would cause the concealment issue. Well, basically, after flexing enough, they would start to dip below the profile of the handle of the gun, which completely defeats their purpose. So I started making a very sturdy version made out of a couple of thick layers of Kydex, and those worked really well. I've been carrying one personally for a long time. It has held up. Over about 2 years now, the claw itself has held up perfectly. But then this came onto the market and I gave it a shot, and I got to say I am super pleased, super impressed with these. So these are actually going to be a cheaper and better solution than even the Kydex concealment claws. So when you ask for a concealment claw or a mod wing or whatever you want to call it, this is what you can expect to get. These aluminum ones, they are fantastic. They're going to be a more cost-effective solution for you as well, and they are far superior to anything else I can think of on the market. All right, so we've got the grip hooks, we've got the Dominate aluminum concealment claw. We do have the setup that I had, so I didn't actually form these shells for the firearm. I didn't have the vacuum molds for these 2 models, so I reached out to another Kydex guy who was able to provide the shells for me. And the setup I asked him to give me was some kind of blocking over the slide of the gun so that I could mount, say, a grip hook in that place in line with the slide. Well, one of the things is because these are both so compact, this one I'd say is a compact, this one for sure is a subcompact. The grip hook actually, if you look at how large it is, it would put the belt, so you have to think of the top of the belt traveling through this slot at the top of the hook. the belt would actually cover all of the viable areas of the handle to grip. And of course, this is the larger one, so imagine how much worse it would be on the smaller one. It's just not a viable carry option with this particular belt clip. If you wanted to go with a really short Ulti clip or something like that, you might be able to do that with the Ulti Clip Slim 2.2. But in this case, the grip hook is not the way to go in line with the slide. So the solution I came up with was, in this particular case, they are different size guns, so the holsters are ever so slightly different. This one, I mounted the claw and the IWB clip in line with one another through the same mounting holes. You can separate them out and have them in different holes. If you do that, I would recommend putting the grip hook through the retention hole, if anything. Right now where it's at, I love how it feels. I love how it looks. It actually wears very comfortably as well. And same thing goes for this one. This one I did separate them out because the location of the grip hook, if I were to mount it in the same holes as the concealment wing, would put it in the way of your middle finger getting up into that trigger well. So you really want to make sure you get right up under the trigger guard, get a good complete grip, and then draw. The only thing with this particular setup where you have the clip with the retention screw is you need to make sure that you dial your retention really into where you want it, and where it feels holding it in your hand and drawing is going to be probably a little bit less intense than the feeling of drawing from inside the waistband, because you'll have the added pressure of the belt pushing against all of this. So definitely play with it a little bit, Seamus. Find out where you like it and make your adjustments where you need to. All right, so we'll move over here to the two sheaths that I've got. These setups are some combination of a knife sheath plus a single stack mag. And this one here is the Kabar TDI 1480. This is, of course, very popular. It's probably the most common Kabar knife right now. Certainly one of my best-selling products is the sheath for this knife. And this one obviously is set up slightly different to accommodate for this carry setup. Same thing goes for this. This is a Cold Steel Urban Edge push dagger, and I have set it up a little bit different from how I normally would so that it is accommodating this kind of carry setup. Now both of these are ambidextrous. Both of them can be joined to the magazine on either side of the sheath. So over here you have it set up where if you had it on your left side, it would be a reverse grip. If you switch it, you could flip the sheath over and change that to a forward grip, whatever you want to do. It's very easy to change the setup. All it requires is that you take some of the screws out and reconnect the flexible rubber-coated nylon connectors that are between them. Now the reason I chose to go with this for a carry setup, it's a little bit strange, makes the whole thing really wide, but it also makes it very flexible and very low profile. So you're not really compromising anything. And if this is going to be going inside the waistband on your side, in what little experience I have carrying on my side inside the waistband, anything there, it's kind of a crappy area to have anything really bulky stuffed into your waistband. So this should feel very low profile, should feel very comfortable because it's hugging whatever shape your body is and it's getting a nice actual curvature. So I'm really happy with how this came out. Now, why did I put the carry clips mounted all the way out to the sides like this? Well, originally, sorry, that's my heat press going off. Originally, the plan that I had come up with was to mount the Ulti clips to the eyelets on the devices themselves. However, once I started setting it up, I realized that that would put the Ulti clip right in the area that your fingers need to go to get a good draw on your blades. So if I were to have the handle in the space that my fingers go, it'd be impossible to get a secure grip on the knife. And I'm a pretty staunch supporter of the idea that you want to get a full deep grip on the blade so that when you draw, you don't have to readjust your hand, ideally. Also with this setup, you can change the ride height pretty easily. You can do it two different ways. One, by finding different mounting holes to go through, or two, by simply angling the rubber-coated nylon strap. Sorry, just brain fart there. But you can absolutely angle these differently, which will affect the ride height. You just have to think of the aggregate combination of the two clips, what would go straight across that. So you do have a ton of different options with these. You can also combine the two, the holster, the mag holder the mag pouch and knife, you can set them at different relative heights away from each other. So both of these have a lot of different options in them, and I'm really happy with how these came out. Now the final thing I'll talk about are the magazine holders themselves. You can see that all four of these are identical insofar as the overall shape of them. They all have mag retention devices, which are a simple device that allows you to put lateral pressure via a set screw. It takes a 1/8 inch hex bit, but you can dial up or down the retention through that little set screw there, and a little arm kind of pushes into the side of the magazine, adding pressure and creating variable retention, which is really nice. So these I actually built off of a mold that I created by hand. So I was really happy with how this came out. These are just pieces of wood that I programmed, lasered out, and then sanded them down and made them a little bit more precisely shaped. You can see I've got even drill indicators in this by putting finish nails in and snipping them off. So this came out ultimately really nice. Very happy with that mold, and hopefully this works really well. But I actually custom built that mold specifically for the Kahr Arms single stack mag. I was finding some pretty wild differences in magazine widths for single stack, so I actually had Sheaths get a pair of calipers on his magazine to tell me what the dimensions look like. So Sheaths, just so you know, you gave me the dimensions of roughly 1.25 inches wide this way by a 1/2 inch depth. It was 0.48 something for a depth of the magazine. So I set up the mold to work on 1.3 inch wide by a full 1/2 inch deep, and that means that yours should fit in this no problem at all. So all right guys, well that's all I've got for you on this. I hope you like these projects. Let me know what you think of them. If you have any experience with Kahr Arms, I'd love your opinions down below. I've never actually handled or fired anything from Kahr Arms, so I'd be curious to know what you guys think. And of course, I'd love to know what you think of the setups that I chose. Sheaths chose Cryptek Typhon for the color, so that's what you have on everything here. And Ulti clips, of course, up here. Grip hooks and Dominate concealment claws down here. I'm really happy with how this came out, but of course, your opinions are the most important to me. All right, guys. If you like what you see here, hit that like button. If you like the channel, subscribe. Definitely comment down below. Let's get some conversations going. Share this with all your friends. And of course, stick around for the next video. Stay tuned. God bless.